James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to play On the Road Again by Willie Nelson. Now, this song uses some bar chords, and it's super duper fast, so it's a little bit tricky. If you find that this is a bit much for you, I do have a simpler way to play this. So I have another lesson where I teach you how to do this with no bar chords, none of that stuff. It's a lot easier. But you know, if you're up for the challenge, this one's great. And if you find that you do need extra help with bar chords, or you feel like you're ready to take them on, but you don't quite know how, I have a course, Bar Chords Made Easy, where it kind of bridges the gap between like the regular chords and bar chords. You know, instead of just trying to jump straight from here all the way, it's kind of like a little staircase, you know, just gradually takes you all the way there using exercises that I've just tested out with all my one-on-one students in real life that, you know, when they ask me, how do I play bar chords? This is what I do and this is what works. So, you know, check it out if you're interested. Otherwise, we're just gonna jump right in on this one. First thing we're gonna take a look at are the chord shapes. Our first chord, E. Super duper simple, just an E chord. Then we go into a G sharp 7 chord. And to play that one, if you've like never played this one before, I would actually start here, playing an E chord using these 3 fingers. So, you know, it's the same chord, it's an E chord, but using these 3 fingers. Then we're gonna go up 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then we're gonna put our first finger down on the 4th fret. So this is what we have so far. This is a G sharp chord. Now to make it a G sharp 7, all we gotta do is just take off our pinky finger. It's a G sharp 7. This one does require quite a bit of grip. You know, if you're new to bar chords, this one's going to be a little more difficult than your average bar chord, but sounds super cool. And you know, as long as you take your time, even if it's not ringing out 100% and you're missing some strings, it still sounds pretty good. Next, we have F sharp minor, and from our G sharp chord, you know, I want you to hold this chord shape. Just go to the left 2 times. 1, 2. And then we're going to put our pinky back and remove our middle finger. And if you want, you can actually, since our middle finger is doing nothing, we can put it behind our first finger to kind of give it some backup. Next, we have an A chord, which you can play with 1 finger like that, just 2, 2, 2, or you could play it like this. I don't care, it's gonna sound the same either way. And then we have a B chord. And that's one of the more difficult bar shapes, especially when you're just getting into bar chords. It's based off the A chord. We just make the A chord like this, go up 1, 2 times. That's that, you know, so it's like 2, 4, 4, 4. And just leave the top string muted. You know, if you really squeeze it the right way, you can get all of them. And you can even mute the low string with the tip of your first finger. That's ideal. But just try your best, and over time, this thing will clean up. So those are all the chord shapes for the whole song. Now let's take a look at the chord order. You know, we're just gonna go through them in order so we can practice switching and get each chord the right number of times. And don't worry if you kind of get lost. I'm gonna show you afterwards how we can kind of map this out so that it's really easy to remember the whole chord orders. Starting off on E, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, so for some of you, that might have been easy, keeping track of how long to play each chord for. But for most people, it can be kind of confusing, especially with a song like this, where we're doing like 4 measures of this chord, 4 measures of that, then 2 measures of this, 1, 1, 2, 4, and it kind of gets confusing. It's not just like play through each one of these 2 times or something. It's gonna take like 20 seconds. We're gonna write out our own chord chart for this. We start off with an E chord, and then we're gonna play it for 4 measures. So I'm just using like a % sign. That just means E, 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 E. And this is 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So I recommend, taking a moment, writing it out just like this. You could even pause the screen and just copy this down. And that way you have something to kind of look at as you go through the song, so you can help keep track of where you're at. And over time, I'd make it my goal to kind of flip the paper over eventually so that you don't need the visual aid. But at the beginning, there's absolutely no shame in, having something like this to look at. Anyways, now that we have the chord shapes down, let's take a look at the strumming pattern. And this one's really simple. It's just super duper fast. It goes like this. And all I'm doing there is I'm going root, down, up 2 times. So root, down, up, root, down, up. Root just means to hit the lowest string. It kind of just gives us a bass line. Root, down, up, root, down, up. Just try that a whole bunch in a row. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and root, down, up, root, down, up. See how fast you can go with it. Maybe you max out here. At a certain point, it's going to start to flow and get really crazy, right? So go slower than that. Go at a speed where it's super nice and comfortable. And over time, you'll get used to it and you'll be able to kind of gradually increase the speed. You might not be able to play along with the recording at full speed for a few months. This is super duper fast. Like even for me, if I had to play this for like 5 or 6 minutes, I'd start like, oh. It's more of like an endurance thing than how much you know about guitar sort of thing. It's like, can your muscles do this thing this much, this exact motion for like this long period of time? So, just take your time with it. You'll build up the endurance over time and the speed and all that. It's about just doing it slowly and correctly. Anyways, that's the whole strumming pattern. So let's actually just take a moment with it. And when you're ready, we're going to try to put it together with those chords that we wrote down. Starting off on E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I just can't wait to on the road again. The kind of playing music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Cool, so that's the first part. Now let's take a look at the second part. And before we try anything, let's just write out the chord order the same way we did with the last part. So you can see for this section, we're playing A 4 times, or 4 measures of A. Then we have 2 measures of E, 4 measures of A, 2 measures of E. And then at the very end, we have 1 measure of B, followed by a measure where we play B just on beat 1, and then on beat 2, 3, and 4, we're resting. So let's just quickly go over that B at the very end there. So we just play it 1 time with the pattern, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you didn't jot that down, you can always just rewind the tape, find the picture of me with the board in front of me, jot it down yourself. And now we're gonna try putting this together super duper slowly, starting off on the A chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. then we'd go back into the first section. So that section's actually a bit easier to remember. The only tricky bit is that stop at the end. And at this point, you know everything it takes to play through the entire song. You just do those 2 sections back and forth till the song is over. But let's take a look at some other cool stuff that we can do on this tune. The first thing that really stands out to me on the recording is the intro. It sounds like this. And if you've taken a look at another Willie Nelson tune, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, he also does that exact same thing in that song on the same chord. It's a really cool country sounding deal. We're on an E chord, and we're gonna pluck the A string, but first we have to remove our middle finger from that string. Not entirely, we're just lifting it up a little bit. We pluck the A string, and we hammer that finger down. Pluck, hammer. And then we do down, up. We pluck our root, down, up. So it's very similar to our strumming pattern, except we're just adding a little bit to it. We take our finger off, pluck the A string, hammer, down, up, then root, down, up, just like our strumming pattern. Let's try that a couple times. Do that maybe 4 times, 8 times, however many times you feel like, just to kind of warm up at the beginning of the song. When you're ready, on the road again, and then you can start the tune like we've already practiced. So that's the little intro thing. The other part is as we approach the G-sharp 7 chord, I like to go. So what we're doing there is we'd play our E chord 3 measures just normally, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that another couple measures. Then on the 4th measure of the E chord, we're gonna go. So we're only playing the first half of our strumming pattern. Root, down, up, and then we go O2 on the lowest string, and we use our first finger to pluck it. And then we're ready for our G7 chord, G-sharp 7 chord. So root, down, up, O2, G7. Just practice it like that, just isolate it. Root, down, up, O2. Cool. Now the only other part that we haven't figured out yet is the very ending. And they end this song with a tag. And all we're doing when we play a tag is we're just taking the last few chords and just repeating them a couple times. So at the very end of the song, we would just take this part right here, starting at A, up to here, including the E. So you just go, I can't wait to get on the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. And you just keep repeating those last 4 chords. I can't wait to get on the road again. So let's pretend now that we've played through the whole song, we're on the very last verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just can't wait to get on the road again. Can I laugh at music with my friends? I can't wait to get on the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. So we just keep going back to that A chord. I can't wait to get on the road again. All right, so that's all the bits that make up this song. Now, to put it together, rather than write out the entire song start to finish and follow along with it, I don't really think that's the most effective way. I think the best way to get it is to listen to the song a whole bunch. Listening is half the battle. So if you listen to it, you'll learn to anticipate what's coming next. You'll just hear, oh yeah, I can tell that part's gonna come next. And you'll start to connect the dots. You'll start to be like, that part is this. And and you'll just start to kind of figure it out. So I recommend listening to the song heavily, really actively listening to it and practicing the components just like we did in this lesson. And eventually you're going to be able to put it all together. If you find that you're having trouble with the bar chords, don't forget I have my course designed to help you with that exact problem. You'll find a link to that down below. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.